Gotcha. Wapastim tsikasun. So hello, White Horse here, colonized named Jason Big Charles. And today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some of the traditional knowledge that is passed down from generation to generation that really is an important part of all of our hunting and gathering as as the knowledge is passed from generation to generation. One of the first teachings that were given is the whole idea of cycles and the idea of the 7-year cycle, because we're taught within Nihiawiwin or within Cree ways of knowing that everything has a cycle that has been carefully watched from generation to generation, and this knowledge has been passed down where it's noticed that there is a 7-year cycle within every circle of life that surrounds us on Earth. That's with the plants, with the animals. They follow cycles when at some years they're really abundant and there's lots of them, and in some years there's very few of those plants or animals around. And a good example of this that's really easy to watch and observe and take notice of is a cycle between the wapus or the rabbit and the pisu, the lynx. So with the rabbit and the lynx, there's a special relationship between them because, of course, the major food for the lynx is wapus or the rabbit. So that's almost exclusively what the lynx will eat in the bush here, at least here in northern Alberta. But within there, we can really see that 7-year cycle. And this year is a good example. This year we have the wapus population or the rabbit population is really starting to build, and it's been building over about the last 3 years, where we had hardly any rabbits 4 years ago. And then the year after that, we slowly started to see more and more rabbits until we're at the point now today where there's a lot of rabbits. However, while that was happening, we started to see that about 4 years ago, there was a lot of lynx, which is probably why there was not a lot of rabbits, because if we have a lot of lynx who are hunting and eating the rabbits, then they're going to slowly put a drain on the number of rabbits, and because they're eating so many rabbits, and they're bringing the numbers down. And of course, we've noticed that now the lynx population is dropping, so that there's fewer and fewer lynx every year, to that we're at the point right now where there's not that many lynx that are being spotted, and there's not that many lynx that are being tracked in the bush. And of course, because of that, the wapus numbers or the rabbit numbers are building higher and higher because there's not that many lynx hunting them anymore. Which brings the question, why would the lynx population go down? Well, like I said, 3 and 4 years ago, there was hardly any rabbits. So if we had lots of lynx then who were eating the rabbits, they're slowly going to be running out of rabbits to eat. So that means their food is disappearing more and more. So of course, they're going to start starving because there's not enough food to feed them, which their food is the wapus or the rabbit. So there's less and less food around. So the lynx numbers start to drop because there's not enough food to support them. So we see here now where we are today that, like I said, the lynx population has dropped, but the rabbit population is going higher. Now in our traditional teachings, that tells us that the wapus are getting near the high end or the top of their 7-year cycle, which means they're probably from their low point at 4 years ago. We're now going into year 5 of their cycle, where their numbers are really starting to build. And I imagine by next year, they'll be year 6 into their cycle. So there's going to be, year 5 into their cycle. So there's going to be more rabbits next year than we've seen this year. So there's going to be rabbits all over the place. So it's a good time for anybody who wants to go wapos tapaguiwan or snaring rabbits, because there's going to be lots probably next year. And then by next year, there's going to be such a high population of wapos that they're going to start to as well eat up their food, and then they're going to start getting sicknesses because there's too many of them. And of course, if there's lots of wapos around, the link are going to be eating really good. The few link that there are left will start to eat good, and they'll start to multiply and have more and more link around. So the link will be going to the bottom of their 7-year cycle now this year, with their numbers getting lower and lower. So next year, when the rabbits start to build their population, the link will be at the lowest part in their 7-year cycle. But again, with so many rabbits around now, those few link that are left are going to have lots to eat, and they're going to be healthy, and they're going to build their numbers. So they'll start to climb after next year on their cycle. So we see how that connection there with between that 7-year cycle. Lots of rabbits, very few links, means that the link that are here are going to have lots to eat, so their numbers are going to start building. As their numbers start building, there's going to be less and less wapos around, or less and less rabbits, because they're eating more and more rabbits. So by 5 years from now, we're going to have hardly any rabbits again, and we're going to have lots of link again. And the cycle will go on and on as the wapos build their number. The link number will drop, causing the number of rabbits to build up, and the cycle will go around and round. Now with that sort of situation, as hunter-gatherers, we're taught that every single animal has the same sort of cycle. Another example is right now with our moose and our wolves. Now with the moose here in my territory anyway, they are at the bottom of their 7-year cycle, which means there's hardly any moose around, and there's not that many in the area, and there's getting to be fewer and fewer in the area. So that tells me, as a hunter-gatherer who's watched these cycles, that they're at the bottom of their cycle. However, moose are at the bottom of their cycle, and right away, without even having to go around in the bush and check, that'll tell me that the wolf population is very high, which is exactly what I'm being told right now, is that the wolf population is very high right now. So the wolf population is at the high end of their 7-year cycle. So there's lots of wolves around, meaning they're taking down more and more moose. So the moose numbers are dropping. However, starting probably next year and the year after, the wolves will have started to take too many moose, and they're going to start to be too many wolves around, so their numbers are going to start dropping, and that'll cause the moose population to start rising back up towards the high end of their 7-year cycle. So in 7 years, in at least 5 or 6 years, because of this cycle that we've known to watch, and hopefully no other things play a role, like overhunting or environmental changes. If nothing bothers that, we would expect in 5 years for the moose population to be at its high end again, and the wolf population to drop, because they start to overpopulate, and there's not enough moose right now for them to eat. So as long as no other factors affect this cycle, these are cycles that we as traditional hunter-gatherers have learned to watch, and It tells us what to expect and tells us when we should be hunting, say hunting moose. Right now there's not a lot of moose, so that tells us we shouldn't be hunting moose so much because their population is really suffering right now because of the amount of wolves. So we sort of back away from hunting the moose until their numbers start to come back up and they get towards the high end of their 7-year cycle. So with the traditional knowledge we're given, we're also told that even the plants have the same kind of 7-year cycle, because over years and years of observing the world around us, our elders have learned to tell us that even our weather follows a 7-year cycle, where this year and the last year here in my territory, it's been super dry. We've had hardly any moisture. It's been really warm, hardly any snow. And thinking back, I could think back, this is how it was 7 years ago. The same type of situation where we had hardly any rain and the winter was really warm. And we could see that pattern in that cycle, the 7-year cycle again. And hopefully, if nothing like global warming affects that cycle, then we would expect that after this summer, we would start to see more and more rain and more moisture, more snow building up again for the next 7 years, until 7 years from now we could expect it to be hot and dry again. But like I said, the 7-year cycle has really been changing because of stuff like global warming and pollution and logging, and all of this stuff is affecting that cycle. But for the most part, that 7-year cycle still stands. And like I said, just the plants are the very same. Where when we are gathering, say, our berries and stuff, we see that they also follow the same 7-year cycle. But with the berries and the plants, they're very much connected to that 7-year weather cycle. Where right now, when we have dry years on the bottom end of that 7-year cycle, all of the plants that really rely on a lot of moisture and a lot of water, they're not going to be growing. So as gatherers and hunters, we can't pick those berries, or we don't gather those certain herbs and medicines because they just don't grow good while there's not enough water around. However, there are some plants that thrive in the heat and in the dry conditions, so we start to look at those plants to try and pick. One example of this is something like here in northern Alberta, we have a plant we call northern bear root. That plant does not do well when there's a lot of moisture around. But however, with the past few dry years, out gathering, I've noticed that plant is growing really well. It's growing higher than normally because of the dry weather and the hot weather, because that's what that plant likes. However, once it starts to get more moisture and we get more water, the water table gets higher, we notice as gatherers that plant doesn't grow so well, and when we have wet years, and they grow really small and they're usually not good to pick. So we see how that whole cycle, 7-year cycle, we've learned as hunter-gatherers to pay careful attention to that, because that guides us on how we're going to hunt and gather. And hopefully this whole 7-year cycle doesn't get too messed up by human interference or people over gathering or over hunting, as well as global warming, which we've noticed has been having an effect. But as far as I can remember back, this 7-year cycle does hold, regardless of any plant or animal that we look at in our environment. So this is an example of some of the traditional knowledge that's passed down from generation to generation, and hopefully this knowledge will continue to be passed down, and we continue to really look closely at the world around us so we can know how to better take care of the earth and take care of the gifts that are given to us. Uksamaga.